Well, Kyle,
Yes, Garrett.
what do you know about every Final Fantasy?
Nothing. Wait, no, I know some things.
I know that thing.
I know that thing too.
I think I know some other things.
I think I've seen some things.
You want to talk about those things?
Let's reveal those things.
The two of us have embarked on a ridiculous project on stream to play every Final Fantasy game in order as we return to the type of content we really like making, which is talking about narrative experiences in gaming. But we learned through playing Final Fantasy XIV that the fan base of Final Fantasy, they have concerns about spoilers. What do you know ahead of time? Are people going to tell you what happened? Do you already know what happened? Are you grifting us? Let us know in the comments below if we're grifting. But yeah, obviously, we've been on this earth a long time. As you can tell by the few gray hairs that are showing on this man and the many that are showing on me. So what we thought we would do today is just come clean, be honest with you, and tell you exactly what we know about every Final Fantasy ever, the pre-spoiler meter. Starting with Final Fantasy 1.
I guess starting with Final Fantasy 14, because that's what we played the most of, so every monster
Oh, for God's
we might
sake,
be
let's just
aware
go in
of.
order.
Okay, fine.
Jesus
Fine.
Christ, let's
Final
just go in
Fantasy
order.
1, the best cover image.
Why are you starting like this? We've beaten the game.
I know.
We're as spoiled could be.
Yeah,
There is no pre-spoil. We're post-spoiled on Final Fantasy 1. We're not going to
Chaos.
play it on stream because we already played it on stream.
Yeah. It was good. Chaos was a big guy. It was kind of hard.
The war mech on the bridge, which I felt like I was held hostage by my own audience to do, was extremely memorable.
I was peer pressured because you had been held hostage. And by not joining you in your hostage situation, I would have done you a disservice.
You finishing Final Fantasy 1 is the fastest I have ever rushed back to a hotel because I was out of town to watch something you did. And it wasn't for the chaos fight. So yeah, we were completely spoiled on Final Fantasy 1 because we've completed it. We did an entire podcast. I think it's there.
Oh, right up here. Yeah.
Enjoy this entire podcast experience. This was like more than a year ago.
Long time ago.
We didn't think we would ever declare, you know what, let's just play all the Final Fantasies.
It's insanity. Why would someone do that to themselves?
Why would someone do that to themselves? For your entertainment. Final Fantasy II. Which Final Fantasy II, you might be asking yourself? Well, that's how spoiled I am on Final Fantasy II. I am deeply aware of the confusion that folks in the West have about Final Fantasy II. When someone says Final Fantasy II, they're not sure which Final Fantasy II you're talking about. Because here in the West, we got Final Fantasy IV branded as Final Fantasy II for the Super Nintendo, which did, up until last week, confuse me into thinking that the actual Final Fantasy II was also a Super Nintendo or a Super Famicom game, but is actually an 8-bit sequel on the original plain old Famicom that we didn't get in the States until a collection on the PS1.
Wow, it was that long?
It was that long.
Huh.
Yep. As for actual Final Fantasy II, well, I don't think we know a whole lot. We just started Final Fantasy II last week. We know that the combat system is extremely obtuse.
David Bowie got a magic card, so clearly he's important after he shoots crotch fire.
Oh, you think the villain looks like David Bowie?
Yeah, he looks like the Goblin King.
I know it is divisive amongst Final Fantasy fans. Considered much like Final Fantasy I for the narrative to not be the main attraction.
It's still a step forward, but you can watch our last video about that.
First impressions of Final Fantasy II. Enjoy. But yeah, we are playing it right now, which, hey, subscribe to the channel because we stream right here on the Grinding Gear YouTube. Subscribe, won't you? Won't you subscribe?
Won't you?
Do you want to see us suffer through Final Fantasy II? Subscribe. Subscribe for the suffering. Final Fantasy III.
I know nothing.
Same. The box art, the Japanese box art, because again, sidebar, I adore the box art for the incorrectly numbered American releases. Like, yeah, love that shit. But looking at the Japanese art, this just looks like Final Fantasy II art to me. I guess main dude has two swords instead of one, and he's not wearing his Technicolor bandana.
Is it the same guy?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. They don't work like that, right? There's no numbered sequels where people continue. outside of Sid, but he is not himself. He is an anomaly. Sid Infinite. There must always be a Sid.
If only there was some game that pulled together the multiverse of Final Fantasy and also, for some reason, Disney characters.
Weird.
Yeah, Final Fantasy III. The first in line that I think we both know absolutely nothing about. I don't know anything about this game.
And this one here with the Chocobo, that's not 3. That's
6.
That's 6.
That's not a Chocobo, that's a Moogle.
Sorry. Yes. This one here with the Moogle.
You can restate it. We're keeping that in.
Moogles, Chocobos. I can't. I have no excuse. I have no excuse. But that's not 3. This is 3. And
That's
this plunging man.
I want to do a Google real fast. Okay. The actual Final Fantasy III was still an 8-bit game. We have one more Final Fantasy to go before we get to the 16-bit era.
1990.
I'd say good year, but I actually have no memory of 1990.
No.
I was probably starting preschool or something, which means I was scarred for life.
I was in Virginia. Which one's real? 2?
Because 2 was 4
2 is 4
in the United States.
What happened to 1? So 1 did come out in the United States.
1 is 1.
Okay, 1 is
Final
1.
Fantasy 1 is Final Fantasy 1 everywhere. Math is math.
Okay.
And I don't think it had a 1 because I don't think they knew they were going to make a sequel. It's just called Final Fantasy.
So this is the Dragoon one. I do have some...
There's a Dragoon one?
Well, this is the Dragoon one. It's the Dragoon.
Oh, there is a Dragoon. Oh,
Yeah.
look at a mono-ass Dragoon.
He's the main character or something. This is the one I've seen the opening cutscene for, but only the remake 3D opening cutscene. It's very general. You won't believe this. There's royalty, some of them die, and there's a war going on.
Classic.
I know, right?
Classic. So
But-
it sounds like the underpinnings is classic Final Fantasy like 1 and 2, but maybe the narrative goes significantly deeper and it's more character driven. Because a lot of people love 4, and I'm assuming that means it's more character driven.
Yeah, this Pixel remaster is available on the Apple Store. And since I have Apple Arcade and I play with my kids, they wanted to download this game. And I was like, well, that sounds awesome. Let's fire up Final Fantasy IV. And they got really bored when,
It's a lot of reading.
yeah, it was a lot of reading.
A lot of reading. I didn't like Zelda when I was a kid. NES was my first console. I couldn't read, so I thought Zelda was lame.
But the Dragoon looks cool. What I assume is a Dragoon. It's the very Dragoony armor with the pole arm? Or is it a spear?
Yeah, I know very little about Final Fantasy IV. I've seen the sprites a few times. This is where I started to commit to memory that classic white mage robe design. Other than that, I just know that it is referenced frequently in the critically acclaimed MMO Final Fantasy XIV.
But in this box art, these aren't the real characters. I'm aware of this. Black mage and white mage aren't people, and so people who have played this game wonder, why does it look like this?
Why are you telling white mages and black mages that they're not people?
Well,
you can't just
they
say
are
that.
characters.
That's really... Can't believe
They're
this
like
guy.
shopkeeps.
White mages, black mages, blow them up in the comments.
I love that one. I love that one with the...
I don't know what it is. Final Fantasy V.
Advance the clock 1 year to 1992.
I don't know anything really until 93, pop culture wise.
Oh, gotcha.
We were still in the death throes of hair metal.
So why haven't we heard anything about this one?
We were streaming 2 last week. We mentioned 5 as one that people don't talk a lot about. And people started memeing in chat quite a bit that people aren't talking about Final Fantasy V because they're too busy replaying Final Fantasy V. So it seems like it might be a dark horse.
A likely story.
An underdog, a much beloved cult classic.
So the Pixel remaster art has Big Dragon. I love this art. This like over a robot?
It could be an Amano-ass airship.
It could be a dead body.
Let the bodies go and soar?
That could be, yes, a flying dead dragon body. This, however, with the creepy McDonald's chocobo, bothersome.
I like this drawing of a chocobo. It's exceptionally off-model.
You want to hear my hot take? Chocobos don't inspire me. I think my ancestors were rodents, and when I see giant birds, I get scared.
You're afraid of a lot of things. You also have a dog phobia.
I've gotten better. But I'm not exposed to a lot of giant. Well, I am exposed to a lot of sandhill cranes in the Florida area.
Of sandhill cranes.
Yeah, but they'll give you that like.
That's because they always got a baby to protect, man.
Yeah.
You should be able to.
Like me.
Yes.
But I love this original. This is so adventure-y. This is so like meet the party. However, stoically standing in what I can't tell if it's a main character or a stand-in with googly-eyed chocobo. Not doing it.
I don't know S about F when it comes to Final Fantasy V. Nothing. I don't know nothing. Don't know what happens to the story. Don't know if there's any beloved characters. No clue. Final Fantasy VI. This is probably my favorite box art that I am aware of.
I love this. You meet a character, you know that something's not right because they're flowy and they're trapped in this mechanical monster of a world looking upon a city that's also been influenced by the monster but has hope because of Balloon.
It's just a Magitech.
Yeah, mechanical monster.
It's just a
like a
Magitech.
monstrosity.
It's just a Magitech.
Like a Sala in the belly of that steel beast.
Well, there we go. I know that's a Magitech. I know that's a Magitech.
Magitech.
I don't know if that's what they call it in FF6, but that's a Magitech.
No, I believe so. This one I know a lot about. In fact, I know more about it than I'd be willing to tell you, perhaps.
Oh?
Yeah.
Oh. I know this is the one with Kefka. I know everyone loves Kefka.
Clown.
Kefka is up there with Emmett for taking the fight to Sephiroth for most beloved Final Fantasy villain of all time.
He shouldn't be met outside his element. I think the Joker has a bit more presence. Kefka's very clown. Like, you have the clown Prince of Crime, but you have Prince of Crime in there. Kefka is a clown. A classic big top clown.
Oh, I'm not gonna like this. I hate clowns.
No, but he also has the Joker quality of he hates everything. And I think he wants all of existence to die.
According to Final Fantasy XIV, I know that he becomes a big statue.
Yeah, it's something with a warring triad. He's got 3 friends.
Why does he become a giant statue with a warring triad underneath?
Because he eats 3 spirits of annihilation or something?
I don't
Because
know.
he hates life so much?
I know something about Final Fantasy VI.
Okay.
I know that one magic card goes exceptionally hard.
Which one?
Oh, this one, Rise of Dark Realms.
Rise of the Dark Realms. Very Avengers. The Moogle is giant. Why is he so big?
Oh, yeah, the Moogle creeps me out in this one. That Moogle, you know he's got a dirty butt like a monkey.
There's a Yeti?
I guess. Anyway, I love this art. It goes so hard. It does look very Avengers Assemble. One of my favorite pieces of art to come out of the Magic set from Final Fantasies that I know little to nothing about.
I know there's a big to-do about amnesia, which would have bothered me in the past, but now, like, I've played 14, I've played Witcher. Amnesia. It happens. It's a story device. It works. You can't destroy everything. People will always have dreams. That is a lame line that I bet is delivered and at an excellent moment and makes it not lame.
I bet it's not delivered because it's a 16-bit game and I don't think they were doing FMV yet.
Well, delivered in your head. Also, these lines are written to be read, not said.
Wait, is FF6 the one where we suplex a train? I know there's suplexing of a train that people love to meme about.
And now the Suplex the Train is a card in Magic the Gathering. Suplex. And it's the picture of him charging the train.
Oh, so I guess that is Final Fantasy VI. Thank you,
there
Magic.
It is. Well, there you go, Magic the Gathering.
Thank you, MTG, for spoiling Ghost Train.
It's too late for all of us.
It's too late for all of us.
Thanks, Magic. The magic is ruined.
Run for your life toward the train. Ooh, that goes kind of hard.
It's a console? It's just white?
Comments below. Is this the actual Japanese box art?
It's just a white picture of Final Fantasy VII with a fireball?
That looks like come on, man. That looks like a meteor.
Oh, a meteor would
Final
make
Fantasy.
sense.
It's got to be a meteor.
Is that a big part of Final Fantasy? Is some sort of meteor? Is there like a Sozin's Comet situation?
What? No, I mean, originally it was like a black mage spell in 1, isn't it?
Oh.
Or is
Well,
that
yeah, meteor is a pretty common high-level spell.
And then red chocobos.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah.
I mean, 7 is the one that permeated the school. Everyone was talking about the main spoiler. There's machines, and they put out green stuff. I've seen the intro because it was a graphical marvel at the time. It just ran on loop in GameStop.
Babbage's just had a go. GameStop I don't think GameStop existed yet.
Hastings?
Babbage's and Electronics Boutique, EB Games.
Yes, that was it. Electronics Boutique. Is that the right year? When did Pokemon cards come out?
97?
This is 97, and I would have been in, yeah.
Don't send your kids to private school. I was at a private school by the same, 30 some odd kids. Every single one of them was an N64 kid. No one had a PlayStation. I didn't hear about Final Fantasy VII until the very nice lesbian behind me in high school art class. She was obsessed with Sephiroth, and I remember turning around, seeing a drawing of a long-haired man with a very long katana. I know Matsumune, I think, is the actual name of the sword itself.
Oh, you know the name of the sword.
Yeah, so there is a real sword called Masamune, but also Sephiroth's sword itself is called Masamune, which at the time I was just like, super long katana, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. What is that? And she's like, you don't know about Sephiroth? How do you not know about Sephiroth?
Sephiroth.
She regaled me with tales of Final Fantasy VII.
And at some point, he turns into a crystal? Or like the Half-Life 1 alien? And just flies around? How does he get better?
Turns into a crystal or
Does he-
Half-Life 1? What? I don't know about that.
Does he get better?
He turns into a crystal?
He his bottom is gone, and he has, I think, wings on his head. But
Yeah,
that might
so-
not be him.
Yeah, this is the thing about 7. I obviously have some osmosis. I know about the big thing. I know about the big thing. You know, I can't put a finger through a hole. That has other meaning. But, I know about that.
The big thing?
No,
Fingers through holes?
Well, I know about the
stabbing?
stabbing.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he
I know about
stabs-
the running through.
He stabs the one lady with the jacket.
Yeah.
And
You're going to like that lady.
I figure it's extra dramatic because you probably spec her as the healer. I mean, she's always holding flowers and shit, so it makes sense that you'd be like, give her all the heal spells because, I don't know, she's spec'd for it. And then when you lose your healer, you're like, oh my god, my entire party's crap.
It depends. I don't know. I feel like there's more Tifa fans out there anyway. So, yeah. What do I know about Final Fantasy VII? Everyone is thirsty for Tifa. Everyone is thirsty for Sephiroth.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is thirsty for Cloud. Everyone is thirsty for Aerith. Everyone can't agree on how to pronounce Aerith.
Oh, is that one of them?
Yeah, I think at the time when you were reading it in the States, it's spelled like Eris.
Eris. Oh.
I think it ends with an S.
Huh.
I think it has since just been retranslated to end in TH.
Okay. Aerith.
Let us know in the comments below. I've seen all of Advent Children multiple times.
Banana.
I was in college at the time, went to art school. I'm a very visually motivated human being. And when that came out, it was just like the coolest looking thing I had ever seen. I went to my first con. Story time with Garrett, y'all, strap in. I went to my first con. Shout out to MegaCon or Mega Convention. It's the big just everything con. Happens every year in our great state of Florida in the city of Orlando. Near and dear to my heart. Everyone thinks I live there. I don't. It's quite the drive. I just go to the parks a lot. I'm a disgusting Disney adult. Went to my first con. Cosplayed as Anakin. I was young. Didn't look. I didn't have all these lines on my face. I could go as not so de-aged Anakin now, though, thanks to the Obi-Wan series. There were so many people dressed up as Cloud. And I vaguely knew because of the hair.
Yeah, the hair is very
And the Buster
iconic.
sword.
Yes,
I'm
the
like,
big
that
sword.
looks like Cloud, but why is their costume cool as opposed to like just a purple onesie? And they were selling this awesome Cloud figure in the same getup on this dope-ass looking black motorcycle, and I am a absolute mark for cool-ass anime motorcycles ever since I rented Akira way too young from Blockbuster.
Like you do.
All of that came together, and I was just like, this aesthetic is sick. What is happening in Final Fantasy VII? What was happening was Advent Children was about to release, I think, like a few months later, but they had a bunch of the merch from Japan where I think it was already out. And so I was just like, this just looks awesome. I know nothing about Final Fantasy VII except that one big spoiler. I gotta get this DVD. I still remember going to Best Buy the day that Advent Children came out. And that day on a college campus, so many kids were wearing Final Fantasy VII shirts. Like, it was a big deal at my college. And yeah, I went home and I watched Advent Children. I've never been so fucking confused.
Yeah, the worst part of watching that movie was the guy in the helicopter showing up with the red dog.
Oh.
That made zero sense. And then they started having a side plot about them doing something?
Every time someone shows up in a suit in that movie, I'm like, why?
Who the hell are you?
Why do I care? Go get me back to Cloud and his gang of ragamuffins.
His perfectly manageable belts. The belts hadn't exploded yet. You know, we hadn't hit X2.
Was their character designer changed? Did they go from someone who wasn't Nomura on the original FF7 to Nomura? Because that I never really thought about it until just now. But that Advent Children designs, all that shit looks like Nomura AF. They just Luluified the entire cast of Final Fantasy VII.
I think it's just escalation. I think you just add one belt and then you go, what are we going to do next time? I don't know, 2?
What are we gonna do tonight, Pinky?
Same thing we do every night. Add more belts.
Yeah. So I know a decent amount about 7, but I don't have context for like any of it. And I don't know how it ends. Like I don't know what I'm assuming. The Sephiroth comes back in Advent Children, so Sephiroth must be defeated but not killed.
Yeah, I don't think he is the final villain. I think it's like Mother or something.
I'm assuming there's some sort of like ascension to godhood or bigger bad.
Yeah. And then he gets his comeuppance so he can somehow become a frenemy sort of Megatron
Well, he's
situation.
still very mad at Cloud in Advent Children.
Yeah.
He wants to know if he can give him despair.
And if Cloud could feel anything other than like a 2 out of 10, he'd be mad too. But he's a robot or a clone or something.
Don't they have a history? Weren't they like in an army or something together before the events of 7?
I don't know if he was bred to be a soldier, or if he had things put in his brain to make him a soldier, or if he's like a Warhammer Marine.
I know there's tubes and people I think that were made in tubes.
Yeah,
in
they're
this
green
game.
tubes, I think. Yeah, the tubes are green.
But
And then of course they cross-dress in a casino at some point. That's famous.
Sephiroth?
No, Cloud to win.
Oh man, I would
perhaps?
love to see Sephiroth in a dress.
He kind of already does.
No, he's wearing a long ass trench coat.
Oh, yeah. If you just put some fabric between the front, that's a dress.
You could say that about anyone who wears a trench coat.
If you wear a trench coat backwards.
2 and 3 Neo. That is a completely closed trench coat. Is that a dress? I wouldn't call that a dress.
I would call that a I like his priest outfit. I think he looks badass as a priest.
I do too. I say it came this close to blowing an entire paycheck in high school on that jacket.
Same.
Oh yeah. Oh, it would have been so cringe. Final Fantasy VIII. I've seen this box art a million times. This was peak video game magazine time for me, for young Garrett. I wanted a PlayStation so bad because of the character design of Squall. I just thought he looked super cool. If you've been around our streams, you've heard me talk about it. I think he's just like at the time, I just thought he was the coolest character ever. And other than that, I only know that a scene that happens in a raid in Final Fantasy XIV is pretty much a shot-for-shot recreation of a scene in Final Fantasy VIII.
And this is the Gunbreaker game. This is the gun sword game.
Yes.
He's got one.
Squall. I know his name is Squall.
He's squalling.
Squall uses a gunblade.
I love the hug. I've always liked the hug.
It looks like it's a romantic-ass game.
Yeah.
And I know we don't agree on much, but I think we both agree that we really enjoy a good romance in our stories. And this looks like it's romantic, but I wonder if, because I don't 8 is another one that I get a sense from our community is divisive. There's some people that I've heard from a lot of people that they don't like this one, but I've also heard from a lot of people that it's one of their favorites. So it seems like it's divisive, kind of in a similar way as 2. But I've also heard that some of that division might come from its actual game mechanics and not necessarily the story. Kind of like the sphere grid in 10. I think a lot of people didn't like that. The talent system in 10.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that was a bit overwhelming, but I hadn't known anything else. I love everything here. The hug, the evil queen, the young princess she's going to steal her beauty from, and Wesker. All looks fun.
Yeah, other than that, I know very little about this game. Probably the most hyped I am to get to any Final Fantasy just because of how much I pined over playing this game in my youth. But I don't know shit about it other than I know I was really hyped with zero context when in, I think it's Kingdom Hearts 2, Squall and Cloud go back to back with their swords.
Oh,
it's a very cool moment. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know anything about these characters, but this looks hype as fuck.
I know that camera flying through maybe a ballroom looks like it's dying. The PlayStation is dying running this game.
It's probably an FMV. It's probably fully pre-rendered.
Yeah, well, it was dying when they rendered it.
I got nothing. I don't know anything about this game. All right. Final Fantasy IX. I'm going to get myself in trouble here. I know that this is the lamest looking group of characters I've ever seen on Final Fantasy box art.
I do not like it for personal reasons. This was my, oh my god, everyone has a PlayStation but me game.
Oh, I had never heard anyone say a word about this game. I had never seen any images from this game. I didn't know it existed until I started playing Final Fantasy XIV. It seemed like we went from 8 to 10 in pop culture here in the States. I don't remember seeing this on any magazines. Like when we got to 14 and I got a sense that this is beloved and I went and looked it up. I also got I think it's Zidane is Monkey Boy's name. I got that costume for staying subbed long enough to 14. And I remember getting it in the mail and going, what is this hideous thing? And someone was like, Final Fantasy IX. And I pulled it up. I'm like, oh, why is everyone so tiny? Why is there a monkey boy with a Chippendale's cuffs? Why is this clearly underage boy working in a strip restaurant?
Why is the middle guy regarding me like this? Like I'm an outsider? Does he hate me already?
I don't know. I like the classic Black Mage. I really like that design. Always have. But the rest of this, it was a massive personal aesthetic only turnoff.
Well, it was that time period, right? We were proceeding towards realistic graphics, and to go stylized was a shock. And now we understand the ebb and flow of that. But much like Wind Waker
would have been a few years after this.
But it did kind of...
Because PS1 would have been still N64 era. We would have had to wait to get to the GameCube. And Wind Waker came out pretty late into the GameCube's life.
But it was the time period where I cared about that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah. No, I was a total edgelord. You know, I was full... What year was this?
2000.
2000. I wouldn't have been in high school yet. I wasn't a full-on... Oh, I was a full-on edgelord. I was listening to Limp Bizkit.
Excited to see this one because of Final Fantasy XIV. But let's get back to real graphics, shall we?
Wow.
Listen to my story. This may be our last chance.
Final Fantasy X.
Kissing in a lake. I played this whole one.
You're fully spoiled on this.
Yep. Played it years after the fact on my friend's brother's PlayStation because they were deployed and it was available.
This is the only Final Fantasy I had any experience playing before Final Fantasy XIV. No, that's not true, because I also got Final Fantasy X too, but I have not beaten either of those games. So I got Final Fantasy X for Christmas with my PS2. It was a great Christmas. I also got Spy Hunter, which I think I beat in a single sitting. Anyway, I also got Final Fantasy X, and I do remember loading it up and seeing those cutscenes that happened in the first quarter of the game, I think. And I think it's the first time in my life I ever unironically uttered the phrase, games will never look better than this.
It was gorgeous. And I played it years after the fact. Absolutely gorgeous. You sat through every single one of those summons just to see it again in full motion graphics. Wow, it was so beautiful. The cutscenes, the in-game, Titus. I don't know how
I say Titus. Titus sounds
Titus.
too much like Teat to me. I don't care if it's correct. I reject it. It's Titus to me.
I was the perfect age for him. He was a self-insert for me. I was awkward. He was awkward. Together, we were an awkward duo.
Listen, I understand we're having a really big nostalgia push for this look in games. That early 2000s obsession with the subtropics. Sonic Adventure had it. Final Fantasy X had it. Hell, even once we got the Wind Waker, it kind of, it was very ocean themed. We were just all about palm trees, sand, beautiful, crystalline Caribbean blue waters. That's cool. I'm going to make this super personal. I'm from Florida. I grew up in shit that looks like this. I could not have identified with this character more, even though I never did any cool water sports. I scuba dived, which some people think is cool, but there's nothing cool about putting on a wetsuit. I was crushing real hard for the first time. I was begging my parents to let me date for the first time. They wouldn't let me. They thought I was too young. This was perfect game, perfect time. And then I didn't get past the first Seymour fight. I had never played an RPG before, except for Pokemon, which probably should have helped me because this was still turn-based. But I had no idea what I was doing. I played it like a moron. I didn't level up enough. I didn't spec correctly. I didn't have enough items. I never got past that Seymour on an airship fight. So I have no idea what happens after it. And then, multiple Christmases later, let's do a bonus 10-2, because I think we were planning to skip sequels here. Were we skipping sequels?
I think we can do a bonus.
All right,
Throw in a
bonus.
bonus.
Bonus 10-2 here. My mom saw 10-2. I didn't ask for it. Didn't ask for 10-2. Mom's, getting stuff for Christmas under the Christmas tree. I get 10-2 because my mom remembered getting 10 for me for the PlayStation, and she goes, "Oh yeah, Final Fantasy X got a sequel. Garrett liked that game," and she gets me the J-pop sequel. If 10-2 could have spoiled me on 10, I don't know how, because I don't know how it went from serious dire drama that seemed to be present in Final Fantasy X, and we ended up on, let's start a J-pop group and have dual-wield pistols.
Yeah, it was, I 100%ed 10. I did the limit break weapon thing. I went back and ground more. I did everything I could. Every side quest. I loved it. So I got 10-2 with my own money, not borrowed from the friend. And I didn't get 3 hours in. It was so different. It wasn't turn-based anymore. It was semi-turn-based. And I was overwhelmed.
I remember so little about it. I do remember enjoying it. I was the age where I was just like, girls are cute. I'll keep playing this game. Like, this would have been the time when I was like renting Dead or Alive. Like,
yeah, it would have been
like,
that. Yeah, that's
cute
true.
anime girls was enough to make me just push through. But I know I didn't beat it, and I remember the exact moment I got stuck in 10. I don't remember at all really the story of 10-2 or where I left off. I couldn't tell you.
Nope.
Also, I think it was around the time I actually did start dating. So.
Oh, you didn't need them anymore.
Well,
I see.
It's kind of, yeah. Yeah, I had an actual relationship. And some of them were healthy. Take that. High schoolers from the past. Who am I even stunting on?
Yeah, Inside Out, Yuna blows away.
It's just my life, man. Final Fantasy XI. I guess I know some stuff,
yeah,
because there's a bunch of 11 references in Final Fantasy XIV, and at the time of recording this video, there's an entire Alliance raid series dedicated to Final Fantasy XI inside of Final Fantasy XIV. I know it's the MMO. I know that this is where Lalafell started.
In their creepy form.
I F you. I think the Lalafells with the black nose is really cute. I think that's an adorable design. I really like it. And that one character that we've been sent is like this Jaya videos of. The way she talks is really cool. Very verbose. I don't know who the character. I know she's much beloved. That's about all I got. But yeah, narrative wise, I don't know anything.
It's a grindy grind. It's an old school MMO. There's a story in there that's worth experiencing if we can pull it off. But I don't know anything.
I know in the early days of World of Warcraft that we would look at FF11 players like we would judge them.
Yeah, we judge them. Yeah.
And now that I've met some lifelong FF11 players, I do feel bad about that. I'm sorry, FF11 players. I was a jackass in my 20s.
I was playing Phantasy Star Online on the GameCube, so we can all judge each other.
I always thought Phantasy Star looked so cool. I never played it.
Yes, I never connected to the internet, so I soloed.
But yeah, I don't know anything about 11 other than I don't know if we're gonna play it because it scares me.
It's a lot.
I'm afraid of this.
We're gonna find a way to do something.
I'm afraid of this game. But if it's for narrative purposes, we gotta see the story, man. We gotta figure out a way.
Gonna do something.
Will you carry us through Final Fantasy XI? Can you carry us? Is it possible to get carried through Final Fantasy XI?
Streamer getting carried.
This is the only time in my life like I
just
would just be like, please, just carry me through this.
Yeah.
I just want to see the
I don't
story.
want to lose levels when I go down.
I don't know.
No, escort me, please.
I want to spend one day kind of understanding the mechanics of the game, and honestly, and then after that, just rip me through the story experience.
Fine.
I just want to see the story.
MSQ only.
Final Fantasy 12.
Star Wars Edition.
I have played 2 hours of this game.
I have played 12 hours or more of this game.
Yes, you
It's
started playing by
huge.
yourself.
It's like 100 hours.
Kyle began it as his solo streaming project whenever I'm out of town. But now we have this project.
So that's on pause.
He's done until we get to 12 together.
It is ginormous. It's pretty well voice acted. It has very, very, like, to say Star Wars, no, it's Naboo. Like, there is Naboo.
Well, it's Rebels and an Empire.
Yeah.
From what I understand from the setup at the very beginning of this game. I really like the look of it. I like Ivalice. Ivalice? They say Ivalice in the
They said
game?
Ivalice in the new trailer.
In the new
In the
trailer.
new
Ivalice.
Tactics
Okay,
trailer.
that's going to be really hard for me to break. I'm not trying to troll, and I'm not trying to just farm comments below. For so long, I've called it Ivalice. That's just what I call it. Anyway, I'm very excited for this one. My initial impression was I did not like the combat. It felt like I was playing a solo MMO. Because it basically had tab targeting. But you said when you get deeper, there you can do like if this then statements.
Yes.
And like auto combat. And that I do actually like. I didn't pick up on that at all in the tiny amount of time that I played this. What happened was when we started Final Fantasy XIV, a good friend of mine who's a massive Final Fantasy fan just mailed me a brand new copy for my Switch of 12. And there was like a little note that like, dude, this is my favorite Final Fantasy ever. Very Star Wars coded, as the kids like to say these days. Play it. And I didn't, and I'm a bad friend.
It's ginormous. And that's where the fun comes in. And it's pretty late, actually. You got to maybe get, I think you got to get like 6 hours in before you unlock the if-then kind of Unicorn Overlord-y BioWare statements.
I've never played Unicorn Overlord. BioWare does that?
Yeah, Dragon Age, the original, had
I never-
the if below 75% health. And the fun thing about it is you can really break the game. You can do some truly obnoxious, terrible for you things like silence yourself, enrage yourself, but then heal if enraged and cause all sorts of like bad feedback loops in your bad programming of the characters.
Well, now I would like to do that in 2. Like, if this, punch myself in the face. If that, then heal that person that just punched themselves in the face.
But that also means you feel like when you're winning, that you have the secret sauce, you programmed it well, you broke the game, and the story's decently engaging. The main character is a bit of a doof, but he's kind of endearing.
He reminds me of Titus. Blonde, exposed shoulders, plucky. This is where bun girls came from. Everybody loves the bun girls.
Prime shipping material, the whole thing, just a beautiful pile of shipping.
I know everybody loves Fran. We have a mutual friend that I had no idea had ever played this, and when I mentioned Final Fantasy to him, he's like, "Oh my god, you gotta play 12. Fran's amazing."
Frambulance, yeah.
I don't know why everyone likes Fran other than butt cheeks.
The
But
Frambulance.
is she actually a cool character, or are people just into it for the butt cheeks?
She's Chewbacca / Jar Jar narratively.
Oh my god. Final Fantasy 13.
Hate. Oh, everyone's so mad. Damn you, Lightning, for taking so many games, I guess.
I don't. Why are people so mad about this?
I don't know. I think she just overstayed her welcome.
I think she looks so cool. I love her costume design. Great looking gunblade too. I think it's a gunblade. Looks like a gunblade. Clearly, I don't know much about 13, other than a lot of people like to let you know that they don't like 13. That's what I know about 13.
PS3 was the PlayStation I skipped, so I didn't ever touch this one.
You have a PlayStation 3.
that a 3? I always
That's a 3.
Oh. 4 is the one I skipped.
You skipped 4.
What did-
4 was a great
What
console.
happened with 4?
No, all
Oh.
of the 13s came out. Wait, hold on. Wasn't there a second one? It looks like Lightning Returns was a PS4 game.
I did not hear a thing about Lightning. I didn't hear a thing about 12, honestly. But were we playing Halo?
When did 13 come out?
No.
When did 13 come out?
2009. Oh, I graduated.
We were graduating college.
I graduated college
We were
into an
s-
economy.
We were
yeah.
super broke.
Okay, yep. Okay, never mind. Yep.
I bought, I think, 2 new games between the years of 2009 and 2011. It was Red Dead Redemption and Modern Warfare 2. No, wait, I also bought Halo Reach.
Dark Souls, God of War 3, and then World of Warcraft.
I was playing WoW.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was my discount game.
I was broke, so yeah, WoW had a lot of game, and it kept me entertained for a very long time. We got into StarCraft 2. We started
StarCraft 2.
podcasting in 2010 with StarCraft 2. Yeah, I know nothing about 13.
I look forward to making my own opinion about 13.
I do too. Every time I see something from 13, I think it looks very cool. I like the design of Lightning. I like the design of this world. PS3, that era is when I would say that we kind of hit modern graphics. Like, yes, there's been some nice jumps since then, but I honestly, yeah, since the 360 PS3 area, I feel like most games that go for any sort of AAA high fidelity look, they all kind of look more or less the same. Like, listen, I love ray tracing, but turn it off and I can't really tell.
Textures are really what matter to me.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's going to really feel like a modern game when we get there. And I look forward to finding out if I'm right. Also, why the hell did it get 2 sequels? If everyone's this mad about it, why did it get the most direct sequels of any Final Fantasy? I know there's more Final Fantasy VII titles than anything else, but the only sequel to Final Fantasy VII is Advent Children, which is a movie, not a game.
Money, I guess.
What do you do? Is that your money
This
dance?
is my money dance. Like, someone was making money, or someone was very passionate. I don't know. We'll find out.
Someone was very passionate about making money. I'm passionate about making money. Money's fun. I like money.
SupporterBromance.com.
And you may rest assured I've been practicing.
Yeah!
Final Fantasy 14.
It's not even here. It's just open.
It's in my soul.
Click the button that says the channel name and just look back.
Enjoy. We could. I don't think I'm more spoiled on anything. Like anything. I don't think I'm less spoiled on my own life. I have a better memory of this game than I do of my own life.
I don't chronicle my life in a video format. So yeah, I guess so. I haven't edited my memories as much as I've stared at our memories of Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, we know everything. I know that it's one of the greatest narrative experiences I have ever had. And I'm not even going to quantify that within gaming. This is just one of the best narrative experiences that I think you can go out there and have. The arc from A Realm Reborn through the end of Endwalker is masterful. So all I'm going to really say here is that you should play it. If you haven't played Final Fantasy 14, if you're finding us for the first time because you see this and you're like, hey, I like Final Fantasy, but you skipped 14 because I hear a lot of Final Fantasy fans skip the MMOs, you owe it to yourself to play Final Fantasy 14. I'm sure you've heard this already.
There it is.
Emmett is one of my favorite video game characters of all time. Enjoy and stream it so that we can all vampire off of your suffering.
The decreed hour is come. Set forth with my blessing, Prince Noctis.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Final Fantasy 15.
I wanted to play this so badly, but it was PS4.
I think this is the lamest looking Final Fantasy besides 9.
Oh, did you see that trailer they made of the Behemoth hunt? Like just the opening quest or something. They pulled up their car and they're sneaking through the bushes and they're watching the big steroid dog get mad. And then they fight him for a little bit. It was such a beautiful trailer, and those were the in-game graphics. And I love the boy band, and like one of them is a prince, I think. And everyone's like, "Hey, you want to go be prince yet?" And he's like, "No, I don't want to be prince yet." And I like that. And I loved, and then I heard there was a movie you have to watch before you play it to understand everything about the ending.
Boo.
Yeah, it's a game.
I don't like that.
But I still really want to play it because it looks really fun. He does the dashy, throwy sword business. There's a lot, and all the dashing looks fun. I don't think you control the other boys.
They all look the same to me. I'm not really about like boy band fashion and haircuts. Doesn't do a whole lot for me. And in my personal life, I'm a bit of a gearhead. I really like cars. And if I get one more message that says, "But Garrett, it's the car one," I'm going to quit this project.
But wait, well, do you like work on the car, or I figured it was just like a Magitech magic car.
That's why I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like I like real cars.
I know it's got Coleman, the camping supplies company.
It does?
Yeah, they're tense.
Oh, thank you for warning me, because that would have made me furious if I saw a Coleman logo and I didn't know that was going to happen.
I believe they eat actual ramen noodles.
I would have crashed out on stream seeing a Coleman logo. Although by the time we make it to 15, I will probably forget this conversation ever happened.
I'll remind you, don't you worry.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this. I have a friend who writes fan fiction, and she loves this game.
Oh, that's not always a good sign.
She loves this game.
Fan fiction is sometimes our way of coping and dealing with such a bad ending we wanted it to be different.
That is you specifically with Evangelion. Not everyone is that.
That is true.
That is you. That is a Kyle trauma.
Well,
And it honestly explains a lot about you to me.
At least it's on the internet somewhere.
I've always asked myself, why doesn't Kyle like real drama, even though he went to school for drama? And then you told me you read Evangelion fanfic to cope with the ending of Evangelion. And I went, oh, he's always been like this. You're afraid to feel.
I just like happy endings.
And I'll be happy. That's what makes happy endings happy.
Friendship, cars, people.
I look forward to being hopefully wrong about this one.
I look forward to the combat. Looks fun.
I did the crossover event in Final Fantasy XIV, and the main character gets isekai'd into the world of Final Fantasy XIV. And I did like the cut of his jib. He had a fun attitude that I enjoyed.
And thus did our journey begin.
Clive. We've both played a decent amount of 16.
We've beaten the first boss.
We made it to the first big time skip.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, first time skip.
First big time skip is as far as we both made it. And then you continued to watch your wife beat it.
Yes.
What?
Continued to watch your wife beat it. And it made me laugh.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Context. I'm never going to recover from this. I was actually very mad that you continued to watch someone else play this game.
I'm sorry about that. It was postpartum. Might be the technical term, right?
Which one?
She was locked in with baby number 3, needed something to do in the wee hours of the morning. So I have seen a third of the journey, but I'm aware of the key beats of the whole journey because of seeing those little beats along the way.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of the first chapter because I've now watched that twice. I played it once and then watched it again. The first chapter of this game is amazing. Really no notes. I'm not a big fan of the combat. I think it's kind of serviceable, and I would just turn on the auto usabilities. I don't find it strategically engaging.
You never played Devil May Cry?
I played 5 because it was hilarious.
Oh, okay. I haven't played 5. I only played the original trilogy. I played 1 through 3.
The thing about Devil May Cry is that the enemies were such bastards that by juggling them, you were stun locking.
Yes.
And it felt good.
Yes.
Because you didn't feel bad.
Yes.
I never felt like Final Fantasy 16 was particularly dynamic.
To me, I pseudo agree with you. I do think the combat's really fun. But I also enjoyed Devil May Cry, so I think that's informing it somewhat. But I see where you're coming from, but I don't know if it's the same reason. The designs of the armor and like the swords that Clive used in this game are so understated. It's really grounded. And so it makes me want a slower, heavier, more realistic combat setting if we're gonna do real-time combat at all.
I see what you mean.
I am so winded, so tired by the whole conversation of Final Fantasy should be turn-based, but I really think this game should have been turn-based.
The icon fights,
Exceptional.
Freaking love them.
Exceptional.
Absolutely amazing from beginning to end. Second an icon fight starts, love it. Absolutely. And there are parts of this I missed, and I woke up the next morning to an exhausted Kristen, and I can't wait to see them.
Yeah, they're very good. That real-time combat is where I think this game shines. And while I do still enjoy just running around with Clive and Torgal, yeah. But we're talking about mechanics. We're not talking about stories here. Like,
No.
spoiler-wise, I don't know. Up to the first time jump. That's everything I know. I legitimately don't know what happens after that. I know press to accept the truth is one of the hypest moments in gaming that I have experienced in the last, 5 years. But this is probably the most impatient I am for this project, because now I have to wait until the end of all of this to play this game.
Well, not the end of everything. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know, man.
What do you mean?
Oh, are we going to play the 7 upgrades before doing this?
I think so.
Oh, yeah?
I think that's the
then you are
play.
going to be waiting a while.
Oh, wait. Oh, you're talking about remake and rebirth and all that?
Yeah.
No, I think we play that potentially in release order, or maybe break release order to play Remake into Rebirth into whatever the third one's going to be called.
I'm excited to make my own opinions about this. I know the main beats of the story as told to me from an opinionated position. Now I want to see it for myself.
But there you have it. We have come clean. That's everything we know about every mainline Final Fantasy. Every spoiler that we have. I think the biggest one is probably that we both know who gets stabbed in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, but everyone knows that,
And
right?
it's so hard to
yeah,
avoid.
You can't.
I remember turning on G4. There used to be a show on G4 where they just showed cutscenes from video games. That was the first time I ever saw it.
Oh,
They just had major Final Fantasy spoiler playing on G4.
there wasn't that reference.
What were you thinking, G4?
You know, no one was reverent of it. It just like watch cutscenes.
There you go.
Trailers.
And then they probably gave it a bad score on X-Play because they weren't nice to RPGs on X-Play. I really liked X-Play, but they weren't super kind to RPGs. Now, Attack of the Show, that was my shit.
Thanks for watching.
I'm hungry.